Rich Failla spent nearly 30 years as a Westport police officer. He volunteered at Ground Zero after 9/11, started a business, Hot Yoga, and now works at Town Hall, where he is the first person you see when you walk through the door. Rich has spent his adult life serving Westport, and today we welcome Rich Failla to 06880, the podcast.
Well, thanks for having us, Dan.
Happy to have you here. So, start with a little bit of background. Where'd you grow up, and did you always want to be a police officer?
I was born in Rowayton. At age 14, we moved to St. Petersburg, Florida for 10 years. Always hard worker, started a lawn business at age 10.
Wow.
At age 14, we moved back to Connecticut for family and a job for my dad. Went to Monroe School for a year, Shelton High School, graduated in 79. I had a friend who was a part-time officer in Shelton Police Department, where I still live. I was there for 2.5 years, and they wanted me to go full-time, and I was started printing with my father, Trumbull Printing in Trumbull, Connecticut. And then I met two Westport police sergeants, Fred Barr and Al Muternowski, police sergeants. We were in karate in Bridgeport. We got to talking and said I was part-time, and they said, why don't you come to Westport? Al Muternowski lived in Shelton, still does. I came here for 6 months, worked part-time and tested, and became full-time 12/20/85.
Wow. What was it about the Westport Police that attracted you?
Shelton's an old factory town. Great group of guys, nice town, but Westport had a much larger appeal. Beautiful town, great equipment, great training. It was just a beautiful town that drew me to here. I didn't test for any other departments. I knew I wanted to come to Westport after working part-time in Shelton.
And I got the list here of the different roles that you played. Patrol officer, bicycle, scuba, boat, motorcycle, traffic, and canine.
Yes.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Great department, a lot of divisions that you can apply to work in, and a lot of opportunities in this town.
And which of those did you like the best?
Traffic. Getting paid to ride a motorcycle, you can't beat that.
Seriously?
Yeah, we started with 3 motorcycles, and they're up to 6 now. And, it's great to have the Harleys out on the road. You can hide behind a bush, a stoplight, parking lots, and it makes traffic enforcement much easier to do.
Everybody talks about traffic in Westport now.
Yes.
Is it really as bad as it is now, or?
Oh, it's much worse.
And how was it when you were working?
It wasn't bad at all. I commuted from Shelton. Traffic's gotten worse. Gridlock, especially since COVID. A lot of people are working at home. So more traffic, more congestion. So it's hard to hide with the car somewhere.
So I think everybody wants to know about traffic cops.
Yeah.
Do you get joy in nailing people, or what's the psyche of a traffic officer?
You're always looking for a violation here. We're out there to make communities safe, not to hammer people, to abuse your authority. I thought I was very fair. I would ask people, okay, have you been stopped before? For what? How many times have you been stopped? And, you get to be able to judge the character of the person. Okay, do they get a verbal warning, written warning? Do they deserve a ticket? How many violations have they had in the past? So, yeah, I think even the current guys are very fair in doing enforcement.
What's the strangest line you ever heard?
Well, you have your people who say, okay, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm going to CVS to get tampons. You get into some delicate excuses, and some people are BS excuses, and you learn to weed those out.
Do you know who my father is?
No, I never met your dad. I'm sorry. Yes, I know the chief. I know the deputy chief. I know the mayor. Yes, that's standard. And it sometimes applies, sometimes it doesn't.
Sure. Canine, how was that?
Oh, it was great. I got my buddy here. You're working with your best friend in the world. Yeah, you get to see some interesting stuff. At the time, it was just tracking. They were reintroducing the canine unit after a couple of bad experiences with the previous dogs. So the previous chief, Dale Call, had the Bloodhound. I had my 3 dogs ago, Sarge. So at the time, just tracking, we had a couple lost persons. We had a bar fight where we found a person hiding after the fight in the woods. And now they have a full-fledged canine, patrol, drug sniffing, search and rescue, drugs. So, the canine unit is really advanced now.
And the dog stayed with you all the time?
Yes. Yeah, take-home car. So, 24 hours, 7 days a week, you're on call.
So you joined the force in 1985. 11 years later, 16 years later, 9/11.
Yes.
And you went down to Ground Zero?
Yes, myself and 2 other coworkers. Yeah, we were on the Bucket Brigade. We took the train in. They had buses at Grand Central that took you to Ground Zero. And it was, quite a horrific experience seeing all the devastation. Didn't see any bodies. We're in the Bucket Brigade looking for bodies with police, fire, construction crews. So it was a moving experience.
And I imagine, just surrounded by all kinds of first responders and...
Yes. Yeah, police, fire, construction, you name it.
Looking back at 9/11, how impactful was it? Did you realize then what the impact would be now, all these years later?
Unfortunately, myself and a coworker, Manny Sylvia, that we started with and retired at the same time, we both developed cancer, which possibly was caused from the air and the chemicals at 9/11. Christine Todd Whitman was the EPA director at the time. She said the air was safe, and honestly, now we know it wasn't. All the people that lived there, construction, everybody who volunteered there's thousands of cancer cases because of that.
Wow. And do you have recourse? Is there...
Yes, the federal government set up the World Trade Commission to handle claims of cancer-related illnesses, and Manny and myself are with a law firm to get compensated for that and to have lifetime insurance coverage. So we're in the process. We haven't been accepted with that agency yet.
Well, I am sure everyone who's watching this thanks you for your service and all that you've done. A few years after that, you started a business. You started Hot Yoga.
Yes, Fairfield Hot Yoga and the Sportsplex in Fairfield.
How'd you get into that?
One of my neighborhood friends, a young girl, was a babysitter for my dog, and she goes, it was wintertime. She goes, you ever do yoga? And it was a day off. I said, no. So we went to the Norwalk Bikram, and it was an eye-opener. I've done running, I've done weightlifting, karate. First time doing hot yoga was, just blew my mind. Very, very challenging.
I've never done it. So what's the
draw?
Yeah.
The heat, the energy of the room. The Norwalk studio would have 50 people inches away from each other, mat to mat. So that group energy in the room, just something about it, just that really hooks you, draws you into it. Some people to get that runner's high from jogging. The endorphins from the yoga was amazing.
And what's it like to start a business?
challenging. I started because I wanted a post-retirement job. I've always liked challenges, the police department, police work, the variety, people that you meet. So I started looking around for space. The Sportsplex was empty at the time, and I was their first paying person there, business.
Wow. I mean, and now it's become they've got everything there.
Yes, yeah. It's full. You name it for businesses, they have it.
And then you came to Westport.
Yes, after 10 years, the Fairfield Sports Complex was just way too crowded. So we looked around, my former fiance and I, Abby Chinitz, looked around and we started Westport Hot Yoga next to the diner.
Right there on the second floor of that complex there.
Yes.
And that was, you said, a few months before the pandemic.
Yes, we started July 4th, and then I believe, I think it was St. Patrick's Day is when Connecticut shut down all the schools and businesses, and people like to do hot yoga in a hot room. So we tried to do online for a while. It didn't work, and unfortunately, we had to close.
Wow.
Yeah, sad.
What, you had a pretty loyal clientele, though.
Yes.
People who loved it.
Yeah, we had a huge following. People from all walks of life. We trained a lot of the athletes at the high school, Fairfield High School, soccer, football kids, and they just loved it. And it's amazing to see these young kids, how tight they are from overtraining. We'd have people in their 70s come there. So all walks of life. Met a lot of interesting people from all over the country, and had some good friends.
Wow. Now you're at Town Hall.
Yes. Yeah, Thursday, Fridays. So I'm still working at rural parking Tuesdays. So I get to see the coworkers at the police department, keep in touch with them. And then Paul Byron, retired public works person, was working full-time, and he said, I'm retired. I don't want to work 5 days a week. He asked me to work 2 days. So I'm there Thursday, Fridays.
So you're the first person that people see when they come in?
Well, bearers.
And I mean, I remember the days when you could walk into Town Hall and go wherever you wanted without having to sign in, show ID, and all that.
Yeah, COVID changed that.
COVID changed it.
Yes.
How so?
Well, they initially shut Town Hall down. You could only meet by appointment in the back. And then when they opened up the front door, plexiglass everywhere, sign in saying that you don't have COVID, sign in your name so they could track you in case somebody was infected. Had to take your temperature. It wasn't a pleasant experience, pleasant time period. And now the doors are open, and they want somebody at the front desk, help with directions, security if needed.
Do you have issues? I mean, are there...
Nobody likes paying their taxes,
Okay.
So eventually people get irate, and you have to go down there and...
Really?
You tell them, be nice, be polite.
So you've seen everything in Westport. As a police officer, as a business owner, as security at Town Hall. What's the town like? How would you describe it to somebody who doesn't know?
Oh, like I said, I grew up in my younger years in Shelton, had a great time. And when I met the two Westport sergeants and came into town to look around what it's like, I just loved, the beach area, the downtown, all the businesses, the culture here. That's a great community feeling to it.
You mentioned, the irate taxpayers.
Yes.
And as a police officer, you saw people in times of stress and people doing things that police officers stop and make arrests for.
Yeah.
overall, what are Westporters like?
Very educated, successful people. Different crowd from Shelton. Shelton's an old factory town. It's a bedroom community in New York City. So you have your financial people, you have your medical people, you have your artists, and you have your celebrities. So beautiful town, really interesting people to meet. I saw the best in people. Traffic, stopping people. They're not always happy to meet you. I would stop friends. I would stop yoga clients, all walks of life.
And any celebrity stories?
Oh, yes. I don't really want to say who, but a longtime resident, a movie star who drove a very fast Volvo, who came screaming by me, very apologetic. So, met a lot of celebrities, famous people, and they were all very nice. And for the most part, they really liked the police.
Oh, good to hear.
Yes.
You also, I would imagine, as a police officer, got to know a lot of parts in Westport that people don't always see. Any places that, sort of stand out as particularly interesting or different that, people don't always think about?
Well, one of the advantages is that I worked a lot of my time and working midnight shift, and most people have alarms in town, so a lot of people didn't lock their cars, they didn't lock their houses, so you'd have to go through the doors, make sure no one's in there, the homeowners aren't there.
When the alarm goes off.
Yes, that there's no burglars in there, so walking through these 4-story mansions, seeing how the other half lives, you get to see all of Westport, every single square inch that, yes, most people don't get to see.
Go-to places that you particularly like?
I live in the lake in Shelton, so I'm a water person, so I always loved driving around the south side of town, Saugatuck, Campo Beach, Sherwood Island. I like to be near the water.
And restaurants? Favorites?
Tooties. It's Italian owned. I'm Italian, husband, wife, great people. So that'd be my favorite.
Real Saugatuck staple.
Yes.
You mentioned the night shift.
Yes.
Did you like that?
I did. I was a night owl. There was a night differential, so you're getting paid more. Living in Shelton, commuting during the daytime is difficult. So nighttime, no traffic. And it was a different environment. Back in '85, you had a lot of bars on the post road, which is non-existent now. So, there was a lot of bar traffic, traffic violations, the drunks from the bars. Different culture, working days, the evening shift, the night shift, it's all very different.
I think people don't realize, newcomers to Westport don't realize the nightlife that we had here in the 80s and 90s.
Yes, they used to have the, what was the license where they could say an extra hour open, so let's say the bars closed at 1 or 2 in Norwalk, they'd come here for the last hour to drink here in Westport, and the last hour, they got drunker and more accidents.
What are some of the bars that you remember?
Oh, God. Forgot the name of the bar where Shake Shack is now. It was a hip-hop club, and the clientele was Stratford, Bridgeport, not your Westport clientele. They had a lot of fights. One night we had a knifing at the bar, and I was working patrol, and I chased the guy down and tackled him, disarmed him, arrested him. Back in the day, you had Brook Cafe, the gay bar, next door to Crazy Vin's, the strip club. So quite a difference of clientele.
across the street from the state police barracks.
Exactly. Yes, very interesting dynamics. And then everybody go to the diner there to eat afterwards.
What changed?
What changed?
What changed? Why did all those bars close?
The department and MAD got together and they started heavy DWI enforcement and for the good of the town. So yes, that really changed the culture of the town.
We also had the 5 movie theaters where, that brought a lot of life downtown. Then people would go out for dinner or drinks after the movies.
Yes.
Things really have changed.
Yes, I remember 2 theaters during my career, but 5, no, I wasn't here for all 5 of those.
Fine Arts 1 through 4.
Wow.
And then the Post Theater up where Angelina's is now.
Okay, no, I just remember 1 and 2. Yeah, I did meet Christopher Walken. He had a little dispute with one of our locals, so I got to meet him.
Other changes in town?
When I started in '85, it was a much smaller town. Ranch, capes, nothing really extravagant. And then after 9/11, a lot of people moved out from the city, and with it brought a lot of money. Houses were torn down, and the McMansion phase started. And then I had retired, and then after COVID, that brought a lot of New Yorkers also. So the town has changed, it's grown, beautiful homes, beautiful restaurants, businesses. Quite a change from when I started.
Good changes? Bad changes?
Change is difficult. Good. Different culture of people, the New York City people coming in here, a little different mindsets, possibly a little entitled. But with it, they brought a lot of different culture. They high-end restaurants, high-end businesses that we didn't have before.
So looking back at the all you've done, highlights, anything you'd do differently?
No, I wouldn't have changed ever from being a Westport officer. Great group of guys. We always had great equipment, great training, good pay. Like I said, I met a lot of interesting people. So no, very, very proud to be a Westport retiree. Wouldn't change it at all. I still like working part-time. I don't have to work. I enjoy work. I get to see my coworkers at the police department. Work in town hall. I get to see retired police, fire, EMS people, my yoga clients. I got to socialize my dog there. So Mrs. Tucker was very gracious to allow him there. It's a dog-friendly place.
Uh-huh.
People bring the dogs in to get them relicensed. They bring them in just to go to any office, just to walk around.
I've noticed that. You see dogs places you never saw dogs before.
Yes.
So I guess the last question is, you grew up in Shelton, you became a police officer. Kids today, whether they're growing up in Shelton or Westport or wherever, do they have the same desire to serve, the same interest in public service that someone like you did?
Unfortunately, no. The anti-police culture the last 6-7 years, a lot of departments no longer have pensions. So those two things really prevent people from applying to different towns. They'd rather do EMS, ambulance. They'd rather do fire departments. So no, unfortunately, there's not that desire list of applicants to be officers anymore.
What does it take to be an officer?
Depending on the town, the bottom line requirement is to have a high school diploma, driver's license, Some departments want associates. Some departments want the bachelor degree. Clean record, no drug history, good credit history, just a good moral citizen.
And what about the qualities? What qualities make up a good officer?
Well, back in the 50s, 60s, everybody, all the departments, you had your 6-foot male, large police officer who could handle himself on the streets. It's no longer a requirement, to be a big hulking guy. Again, requirements: good moral character, your education, drug history. A lot of females now are applying. We've had lawyers. We have 2 lawyers in our department who didn't want to be lawyers and they want to be police officers. So, very interesting change in policing.
Sure. What happened to pensions?
I used to be a union president here, and one of the negotiations, the past town attorney said, we have the ability to pay, but we don't want to, which is a horrific attitude for a town to tell police officers. You have the ability to pay, but you don't want to. So departments that do have pensions, that's where people are applying.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yes.
Anything else? Anything I should have asked about Rich Failla and his life in Westport?
Having cancer really changed your outlook in life.
When were you diagnosed?
Last July, I was playing with one of my former yoga clients. I took a swing, dropped to my knees, held my chest, felt like somebody hit me in the chest with a sledgehammer. My buddy said, get up, what's wrong? I said, I don't know. So PET scan, blood work, found the cancer. I broke my sternum, 5 ribs, and every day you wake up and you say thank you.
And you said that this morning you got the news from your oncologist that you're in remission.
Yes, complete remission. What I have is multiple myeloma. They can treat the symptoms, but there's no cure for it currently. But happy to be in remission.
Well, you look good.
Thank you. I feel good.
Well, Rich, best of luck. Thank you for all your service to Westport in many, many roles. I'm glad I was never pulled over, but if I had a story, sounds like you would have listened to it at least.
Oh, yes.
Thanks for running Hot Yoga, and thanks for your service, and thanks again for coming on 06880, the podcast.
Thanks for having us, Dan.
You bet. And Bear looks good.
Yeah, he's passed out.